Hello and welcome to DIY with this guy. I know there are about 7,000 videos on these old square balers, but there's a whole lot of fluff in them, and I would really like to go through some details that I have played around with and really dug down on these things to try to get some good square bales out of them. I'm the type of person that I don't like loading my equipment up and taking it to a shop if I can do it myself, or bothering the neighbor down the road to come help me out. So hopefully there's some information on here that can help somebody out. If there's any questions further than what I show here, please comment. So this is an old New Holland Hayliner 6.7. These knotters are pretty common across all of them though. And I've got a New Holland Hayliner 268 over yonder there, and it's exactly the same. But there are some details. If it's missing knots left and right, there are a couple things to look at. Now these old balers, you know, throwing out 100 square bales or so, and you're missing 2 to 5 bales, that's common on these old machines. But if you're missing them and you're not getting good bales, I've been there and it is aggravating. I definitely know that. But I'll stop talking and about the nonsense and get into some good details. So here are a set of knotters. Some overview here. You've got your hay fingers or your twine fingers that's going to come around and grab your twine as you're come up. This here is actually incredibly important. You wouldn't think it is, but it's doing quite a bit. This here, see if I can do it without blocking the camera. This here has a little bit of play to it. You can kind of see it wiggling there. This one you can see it way better. So as you tighten this guy up, that's actually going to tighten your the piece here that holds your twine in. Now I've had it to where it'll start ripping out your twine if it's too tight. So if your twine is ripping before the knife comes across, loosen this guy up, see if it'll help. The other thing is these right here are going to tighten up your bill hook. So your bill hook is that shiny piece right there. That there's a set of pinchers in there, and it's going to come down. The tighter you have this bolt, the tighter that's going to pinch. So if your knot is getting made but it's not able to kick it out, you might be a little too tight there. Or vice versa, if you're not tight enough there and it goes to kick out and it's not really pulling that knot, you might need to tighten that up. So that's what this guy here does. This is actually going to pull. It does a lot, but the most important thing, in my opinion, is it's got your knife on it. See if I can find my finger. This right here is the knife. That's what's going to come across and cut your twine. And then there's a little sweep right here, and that's going to sweep across your bill hook. When that sweeps your bill hook, that's actually pulling your twine off. So these old hay balers, they're designed to run this horsehair twine. I'm forgetting the name of it right this moment, but the new nylon twine, that real small stuff, or even the bigger nylon, doesn't quite run as well on these old machines as this the horsehair here. So I highly recommend, if you're having issues, first try switching your twine out. It will help. There are a couple things now with your twine fingers, these guys here. If it's not catching the twine around and actually getting around that bill hook and twisting around, you may not be coming far enough ahead, and these things will wear out. You can see where this one is real nice, and it's got that nice tip there. It's really going to make sure it grabs. Now I've seen them to where this whole tip is just worn down to nothing, and it'll actually miss the twine. So check that out. They kind of bevel up a little bit, and that's again just to help grab the twine. When this wears down to nothing, it'll become flat. You no longer have that bevel up, and it'll start causing issues as well. Now, one thing that I do recommend, you could take this bolt right here off that holds your entire knotter system in place. Take this bolt off, and you got to watch your fingers. I typically try to hold on right here and slide this up. When you pull it up, it's actually going to go around your disc here, and it's going to push this arm right here. It's going to pull it across your bill hook. So when you lift that guy up, it'll be tight, it'll be snug as it's going across that bill hook, or it should be. If it's not, then you're definitely not tight enough on your bill hook. When you pull that up, you'll see the slider arm that I'm talking about. You can really see how snug it is across that bill hook. If it's loose right there, take a hammer and tap the slider on the bottom. Once you got it lifted up, it'll be right here in plain sight, super easy to get to. Give it a good tap, and then cycle again, and make sure that it's really sliding across that bill hook. Not too tight, obviously you don't want it to damage itself, but the thing is that twine's going to be wrapped real tight around that bill hook, and you want that slider arm to really be able to push it off. If it's not tight enough, that twine will slip between your pusher arm and your bill hook, and it'll just pop off, and then your knot will still be on your bill hook just hanging out there, and it'll cause the next bail to mess up. It'll cause a chain reaction of mess ups. So actually, we're twisted around right here. I manually finished out my last bail so I could pull it out, and that might be what's going on there. But yes, I highly recommend take this bolt out, slide this guy up, and see how tight you are on your bill hook. Do it with both knotters. Same thing, pull it up, and you can see how tight it is on the bill hook. Now, another thing that I would recommend is manually rotate your baler. Rotate it and make sure that your plunger arm is doing what it needs to do. You see in there, most of these balers, they've got an arrow on them. Let me find, there it is. It'll tell you which way you need to turn. You turn it, but I'll show you real quick how a lot of these go into time. So on this baler, we've got two little notches you can kind of see there. You want to line your notches up with your plunger arm there. So this is what's going back and pushing in your bale. And if that's lined up, your notches up here should be lined up. So you've got two little pinholes there, and then another little one right there. So you can see it's not perfect, and quite frankly, I don't know if you can get them perfect. It'll be off a little bit, but the choice that you've got to make is, do you want it advanced a little bit, or do you want it back just a hair? And that comes down to trial and error. Depends on your baler. I so far have found out that the slight advance is perfectly fine. It still kicks out some pretty good bales. If that's not lined up, you've got to retime it. And that just, you take this guy off, adjust your notches here on your chain, and you can retime it there. Obviously, when you do manually rotate that, you want to make sure everything's bolted back down. Now, you can also take your bale size arm here, or your actuating arm, pull that up, and then manually rotate it, and it'll actually pull your needles up. It'll run an entire cycle on your knotters, and you can really see what's going on. What I like to do is manually rotate your flywheel here after you're set, and bring it up until the needles are up. See what's going on. Make sure you're rotating here. Make sure your arms here are moving. Make sure your twine fingers are rotating, and you just want to make sure everything's catching the way it should. If it's not, that's the perfect time to find out where the issue is. So those are the big points I wanted to point out there. Another thing that I have done, if you need to reset this, you just pull it toward you, back down. One thing that I also like to do is I'll pull the twine down in here. Once it's up, I'll pull it back. Don't tie it off to your needles, because that'd be silly, because this moves. But if you pull it back and tie it somewhere back here to something that doesn't move, as if there's a bale in it, you're essentially simulating a bale. And then if you have it hooked up to the tractor, I will pull this guy up as the PTO's turning. Now it's fast. Keep your fingers out of here. It happens in the blink of an eye. But I like to hold my phone somewhere out here or so and take a video, and that way I can go back and slow-mo it and see what's missing, or if something isn't catching, I can really dial in what is not hitting there. One other thing to keep in mind, your twine here, this was sitting in the twine box, and over winter, I'd say a mouse or something got in there, and quite frankly, this entire roll is no good. As you can tell, there's still a whole lot of twine left in there, so that's not fun at all. But the reason why this is bad, this was an issue that I didn't notice until I went to try to throw some bales. And what was happening was we were knotting, but the twine was snapping right in the middle of the bale. And let me see if I can set my phone up in a way to where you can see what's going on. So as this twine is coming through, every so often you'll see a dark spot. I don't know if you can see that real well, but that dark spot, say your knot's up here and it's ripping out your twine. It rips like nothing. That's because this stuff down at the bottom got all wet and started decomposing. And you'll start throwing bales and it's just coming right apart. Find that dark spot. That one was a little bit better, but still that's going to snap as soon as you start getting a tight bale packed in there. So if your twine's ripping out, don't blame your baler immediately. Check your twine, make sure it's some good twine. Again, that one spring bolt that I pointed out, it can actually rip really good twine, brand new twine. So there are multiple areas you got to look at, make sure you're seeing exactly where it's happening. But first thing I would say to check if you've got twine ripping out, look at the bottom of your twine. If it's all black and nasty looking, you got a mouse nest down in there, most likely you need to just replace your twine. When I was having this happen, I tossed a couple new rolls on it and it started hitting knots and actually holding together. But another frustrating thing you'll have, especially if only one twine roll went bad, one side will be busting out and the other side's still good. I highly recommend just change them both out. At the end of the season, if you're not keeping your baler indoors, I know a lot of people don't really have a good storage place for these things, so they leave them outside. If you're like me, it's not the best situation, but we don't all have giant massive barns to store everything in. So I would say take these guys out, store them in the garage or something if you don't want to buy a new set every season, if you're not going through it all. Even if you are storing these a baler indoors or under a like say a lean-to or something, I would still take them out. A lot of times what happens is mice will get up in there and they'll build a house, and then all their nastiness that they do seeps out of their nest and gets into your twine, and it becomes super brittle. So there's another thing to keep in mind. So that's about it. I hope somebody can find some usefulness out of this. I know that's kind of quick. That's personally how I like to do it. I don't like a whole lot of fluff. But if you've done all this and you still don't quite know what's going on, post a comment. I'll see what I can do to help. I know what it's like and how frustrating it is on these old units, especially when trying to get hay done and they're calling for rain tomorrow. So I highly recommend just play around with it, do what you can, and you'll eventually figure it out. I know the headaches are tough to get through, but once you start throwing out some bales, it's all worth it. You can get them picked up and make sure your animals are fed this winter. But yeah, you guys take care.